Okay, this is round 4, I believe, of trying to get the Facebook Live up. Thank you for those who have been patiently waiting for me to bring this on live. So, really glad to be with you here this morning. I'm Beth with Ignited Women, and I wanted to talk today about living into your purpose. Now, probably throughout your lives, you've heard people speak of or asking, what's your purpose? What's your life's purpose? And it can be such a loaded question. It feels like, you're supposed to have this huge, great Mother Teresa-like calling in your life that directs all of your actions and behaviors and values. And sometimes it's not that clear. So I want to break it down a little bit and talk specifically about the importance of living into your purpose in midlife and beyond. Many women that I work with and that I have spoken with have shared with me that they feel a little lost and disengaged. They start to really feel disconnected from their lives when they're going through the midlife transition. And often this happens because so much of women's lives up until the point of midlife has been focused on taking care of others, of putting others' needs in front of their own. Perhaps it's focusing on a career or on raising a child or on taking care of parents. Sometimes, of course, that spills in well beyond the transition into midlife. And what happens is we lose touch with what really makes us tick, what really brings us joy and passion. And the idea of really understanding your purpose can help lead you into a life of deeper fulfillment and perhaps even deeper service to the world. It helps you to feel seen and heard and more alive. So I want to start by talking about childhood influences. When you think about the things that really bring meaning to your life, that really make you feel engaged, it probably started when you were really young. Identifying, if you reach back into the memories or into thinking about your childhood, what were the things that you really loved to do? And how were you influenced by those around you? I can think of an example for me that I loved hanging out at the pool, playing, be there all day in my bathing suit, riding my bike in bare feet, or running down to the pool because I lived close by the neighborhood pool, and spending the entire day there, and swimming and hanging with friends, and sort of a carefree lifestyle. I was very vivacious and engaged with my life. And it's not that that part isn't still with me. It got a little dormant for a while. I really pulled away from my value. I'll speak of value in a little bit. I pulled away from my value of health and the value of connecting and the value of really taking care of myself and honoring myself. I just got caught in, as we do, my life changed drastically. I no longer had access to the pool. My parents divorced. I moved away. I didn't have any way of accessing that side of me, so I channeled it into other areas, yet it was still there. And in my late 30s, it showed up again. I noticed that I was really drawn. I mean, I would kind of dabble. Hi, Stacy. Thank you for joining. Gosh, been forever. Great to see you on. Thank you for joining. So as I was talking about, in my 30s, I really I say it in a way that I rediscovered my inner athlete. I went back to that childhood part of me by starting to do triathlons. So it was kind of the same. It reminded me so much of those times when I would be at the pool, running around in my bathing suit, jumping on my bike, running home. Triathlon is all 3 of those, and you get to be in your bathing suit, and people part the way for you to move forward, and I loved that sense of really being in my body. So that was a deep influence in my life. And also, I realized as I started doing this work in revealing my purpose, that a big value of mine is being healthy and taking care of my body and pushing my body and really living into all parts of my body. And so that's a big value of mine that I live into every day. So I'm going to talk a little talk in a little bit about values and how to help define them in your life. I wanted to start first with the childhood influences to get you start thinking about what were those things that you really loved to do. Maybe you were really into coloring, and for some reason, maybe a parental figure or a caregiver pulled you away from that, saying, you know, that's not a viable way to make money in the world. So yes, it can be a hobby, but put that aside for now. That's not something serious. You have to really move into something serious. So you have to realize that sometimes your deep passions get overridden a little bit by the influence of the caregivers around you, those who took care of you, whether it be your parents or extended family or however, whatever your situation was growing up. And so it's looking at the things that you love to do and why you stopped doing them. That can really lead to your purpose, because you can maybe it's not the same passion that you had as a child, but maybe it's one similar. You know, I gave the example of running around the pool and then turning that into becoming a triathlete. It also brings in your passions. What are you really drawn to? That can really lead to your purpose. What brings you pleasure? Hi, Charlotte. Thanks for coming on. Beautiful to see you here. Yeah, so when you think about the things that make you happy, the things that make you feel silly or giggly or bring that just that sense of aliveness in you, what is it that prevents you from doing that now? I've been kind of grappling with a part of me, the sillier part, the more playful part of myself that it had gone a little bit dormant, honestly. I got so serious in my adult life that I forgot to bring that part back out. So that's something that I'm working with now, is really bringing that part of my passion back. And passion can also be, if you feel passionate about an idea or something that's going on in the world that you want to change. Maybe you have a passion for animal rights or a passion for helping young children. Those things that really make your blood boil, that's also a passion. So it can be you know, a fun and loving passion, but also something that is tied to a cause or something that you really want to influence and make changes in through your gifts and through your talents, which is actually a great segue into the next. So we talked about childhood influences, the things that you love to do, why you did them and why you stopped doing them, and the influences around that, and whether you want to explore that again. We talked about your passions, again, parts of you that may have gone dormant, may have gotten hidden over the years just because you've taken on different roles. Maybe it's the role of being a mother, where you have to be more authoritarian and less fun in your eyes, and bringing that part back, because that's still there. It's just gone dormant. It's still a part of you. And I think that's the whole point of discovering your purpose, is letting it be all parts of you coming together and then radiating that out for all to see and for all to experience the fullest version of you. So it's not about hiding away those parts or thinking that they're no longer relevant for you. It's about bringing them out and maybe adjusting how they look. Like these days, I'm not doing triathlons anymore. But I am still very active. I'm still running. I'm still doing a lot of yoga. I'm still very embodied, which is a big passion and value of mine. So again, after you've figured out what your passions are, you'll notice, oh, Charlotte, I love that. Love dancing. And I've always loved dance and music since I was a little. But it was only recently that I picked it up again. Oh, good for you. I'm glad you did that. Yeah, it does. And Charlotte writes that moving back into her dance really accesses a deeper part of herself. Such a great point. I agree that when I get lost when I am moving my body. I was on a bike ride a week or so ago, and I looked down at my watch and I couldn't believe that I had been out for close to 2 hours, the whole time, just pedaling away without stopping. And I was lost in it because I was caught in my breath and caught in the moment, and it just felt so good and so freeing. So part of your purpose is discovering all of those parts that are inside of you. Hi, Mary. Oh my goodness, so great to see you on. Thanks for joining in. So moving from passion and into the gifts that you have. I like to use I probably overused this analogy, but I'm going to use it again, the analogy of a seed. You can plant a seed, and within that seed are all of the DNA, all of the things that are needed to blossom into whatever. Maybe it's a sunflower, maybe it's another type of plant, maybe it's an oak tree. But you know, a sunflower starts as a little seed, and the seed gets planted into the earth, and it gets nurtured. So just in the same way, a seed knows what to do, knows how to blossom into that beautiful flower. We as humans know how to blossom into our unique gifts. And sometimes it takes a little reminding to remember that you are unique and you do have something special, and it is worth exploring. It may be kind of a bumpy road, maybe a little challenging to really, you know, peel away the layers of all the roles that you've played over the years. But getting to that core essence is a really critical part of feeling more alive, more seen, more heard, and more of service in the world. Now, I speak a lot of being in service to the world because that's a big value of mine. And it always shows up in the way that I think and the actions that I take. So when you think about what your gifts are, what is it that comes natural to you? One of the questions that I often ask of my clients is, what do people thank you for? What do people comment to you about, a characteristic about you that you hear over and over again that really makes you feel good and makes you feel seen and heard? One for me is that I'm inspiring. I've heard that so many times in my life. It could be from me teaching yoga, or me talking to someone, you know, about my passions. I just exude it, and so that is one of my gifts, one of my superpowers, as you'd like, or as it's sometimes called. And when do you most feel like yourself? When do you feel like you are expressing in the most authentic way? Noticing those times. Perhaps what you can do is start journaling about that at the end of the day. When did I feel most like myself? And some cues may show up as to what your passions and therefore your purpose really is. And another thing is when you're in flow, when you feel like you could do something forever without stopping, and it just feels right. It just feels natural, and like you've just gone into this groove, like I mentioned about when I'm on a bike ride, or sometimes when I'm cooking, or, you know, there's certainly other ways. Now, taking a little breath, I get so excited about this topic that sometimes I go a little quick. So I want to take a time to let you absorb in all that I've been speaking of about the childhood influences, the passions, the gifts that you have that are uniquely you, something that you know, if you're asked to do this thing, that you're going to be good at it and you're going to be comfortable in it. It may take some skill building, but it's something that you want to do because it makes you feel more aligned and more yourself. And then it's looking as well as your dreams, at your dreams. That can help guide your purpose or determine your purpose. It's asking yourself that age-old question, if you could have or do anything, what would that be? And the first thing that pops into your mind is probably a really good clue as to what your purpose is. Money not being an option, not being an obstacle. Any of the other conditions in your life are not an obstacle when you're dreaming. So allow yourself to dream in whatever way is best for you. Maybe it's writing, maybe it's speaking it, maybe it's just staying in that state, really feeling into visualizing where your life where you would feel the most fulfilled. I want to talk a little bit now about values. I mentioned a value that I have is really being in my body, being healthy in my body, taking care of myself. And another deep value of mine is service, being of service, using my gifts to help make the world a better place. So what characteristics or behaviors really define the choices that you make? How do you make a choice? How are you living into integrity? That is a great clue as to what your purpose is. So all of these parts come together to align in a way that you're like, my purpose, and you know, I want to reiterate this, that a purpose can be simply as simple as, my purpose is to be kind. My purpose is to be helpful. It doesn't have to be, my purpose is to save the Amazon forest from deforestation. It doesn't have to be a grandiose thing. It is what you feel deep within you. So values also really determine or help you to see what changes you want to see in the world. And sometimes there's well, I don't want to go into the conflicts yet in the values, but if you have a value, for example, of treating the resources of this earth with utmost respect, and that means you watch what you consume, you recycle, you know, take all of the precautions and really make an effort to honor the earth and all of the resources that are in it. And what may make you really angry or really bring your passion on is when other people are not aligning with that same value. And sometimes this shows up as a value conflict. It could be someone in your life that influenced you, your parents, a caregiver, or someone who didn't share that same value. Maybe they didn't see, they felt like recycling was not something worthwhile to do. And so you kind of bump up against those values, and that's where you really have to learn to stand in your own gifts so that you can articulate your values in a way that aligns, because people get that. People get when you are articulating and living into your values in a way, it radiates out and it attracts more in of exactly what you need. That's kind of another topic. I won't go too deeply into that. And ultimately, what are you really committed to? What is it that makes you excited and willing to make the choices that may not be comfortable, making the growth, creating a growth that you want in your life. What is it that, and what parts of you do you keep hidden away? So noticing all of those can really help you align deeper with your purpose. And my passion is really about awakening purpose in women over 50. And how this aligns with my values is that, oh, yes, got some thumbs up on that one, like that. How this aligns with my own values and my purpose in the world is that I see we are a very much of an untapped resource. We're bright, we're healthy, we're vibrant, we are growing exponentially due to the baby boom. There are plenty of us out there, and we don't have a lot of ways to channel all of that energy. We are naturally nurturers. Well, that's a mouthful. Naturally nurturers. We've learned how to, skills, how to cope, how to make changes, how to influence others. And yet our society sees women over 50 as less valuable because we're not making children, because we don't look the same, because in the past we haven't had a role. Honestly, up until fairly recently, women didn't live much beyond midlife, and we weren't in the same numbers. And then it was also many women took on the role of grandparents and rearing their grandchildren because their children lived close by. Now we live in a more diverse environment. So my passion and the parts of me that I really want to get out there is this bold stand for midlife women, and helping all of us to live into our purpose in a way that we can create a brighter, a kinder, a more gentle world. And I can't think of a better time than right now for us to really step into this role and create the changes that we want to see in the world. It's not too late. It's never too late to find your purpose. My mother just the other day was talking about you know, some passions that she's rediscovered in her later years. I will not mention how old she is. She still holds that very close to herself. So I really wanted to spend a little bit of time giving you hope and encouragement that if you are not feeling your deep purpose, you're living into your purpose, if you're feeling a little disconnected from your life, or just going through the motions, and you're really ready for more, then please reach out to me. There's plenty of ways. I'm going to put a little link in. I also created this ebook called Awaken Your Purpose in Midlife and Beyond. It's a free gift from me. So I'll put a link back on the page, and it'll be on my bio as well on how to download that. So I appreciate you being here today. So go out there and find your passion, figure out your gifts, and share them in the world in a way that you know that you are leaving a meaningful mark. Until next time, I'm signing off for now. Bye for now. Take care.